All right, I want to welcome everybody out to the Biz Ninja Radio Show here on ABC News Radio. We've got a really cool guest today, one of my longtime friends, Mark Bangerter. Welcome out, Mark.
How's it going?
Super awesome. We were just talking about how crazy the weather's been, both here in California and up there in Idaho. I'm glad you haven't frozen to death.
It's getting close.
How's the car handling all the snow?
Well, no car really handles deep snow really well. And I was actually kind of afraid, driving a smart car. But I've discovered that it actually handles really well on the ice, better than most cars, because like a normal car, the back end is heavier and will just kind of slide. And it's harder to control because it's heavier. But a smart car, it starts to slide and there's really no back end. And so it's real easy to correct. So
the smart sled does well.
Yeah, it's a sled basically.
Mark and I, like I mentioned, have worked together for years. I think we've looked it up once before, but it's something like 2004, 5, 6, somewhere around there we first met.
Yeah.
And then we've worked together in a couple of different iterations of businesses and things. And over the years, he and I have done dozens, if not more, of new product launches, website development, and everything built that we have always done and worked on together had some form of sales or marketing component. Mark has a degree in internet marketing from Full Sail University. Yep. And while working for me, he started working part-time for a company called ClickFunnels and loved it so much that they hired him full-time, and he's risen in the ranks and is now the head of their customer education. And but even though he's now working for them, he and I started a company called Chase Maverick Media, which really the whole purpose of all it is, more than a company, a website, was to add and provide tools to the community so that they could have, more success in their sales and marketing. And so we just finished up something called the Ultimate Sales Automation Blueprint. And so first, I just want to kind of turn it over to Mark. Talk to us a little bit about his, what's going on, that transition over to ClickFunnels and what he's doing kind of there. And then tell us a little bit about the Ultimate Sales Automation Blueprint.
Sorry, I had to cough there. I just got back from Affiliate Summit West in Vegas, and I was talking so much I lost my voice, and so it's starting to come back now, but it's still a little rough. But it's funny because I don't even go out and party or anything, and I was the one that lost my voice. But all right, so you should be able to see my screen there.
Yeah.
So, we put together this Ultimate Sales Automation Blueprint, and this is based off of, like Tyler was saying, just years of experience in putting together websites, sales funnels, building products, and also working with clients. I don't know how many total clients we've worked with.
It's been a lot.
Or separately, or, me with ClickFunnels and just different places. As part of the program at ClickFunnels, one thing we do is called the ClickStart program, that people can sign up to get one-on-one training. And so there's a lot that, I based just a lot of this on my experience there, but as well as just everything, that we've worked on in the past. And so one thing I saw or have seen just in our community is a lot of people get frustrated and don't know where to begin, or they think they know where to begin, which is actually worse because then they start in the wrong spot.
It's true.
And so I called this a blueprint on purpose because I compared a lot to building a house. And when you build a house, you need a blueprint. And without that blueprint, you're not going to know where to start. And so I may have a couple of analogies that I go into as I'm going through this. And so I'm kind of just going to scroll through this here while I'm sharing my screen. If you're just listening to the audio, then hopefully I'm not just like pointing at my screen and hoping that you are guessing at what I'm talking about. But
if you are just listening to the audio, the nice thing is that you can get the exact document that Mark's going through at chasemaverickmedia.com. And then you can always, it'll make more sense, I'm sure, when you see what we're going through. But yeah, so we're going to be scrolling through and kind of talking through this blueprint. I mean, I know what's funny is, I think you and I having done so many different projects, sometimes we think that the more comfortable we get, we can skip the basics. But I think this has been a resource even for me. Even, sometimes I want to jump ahead, and it's a great reminder, to kind of go in the right order.
I do the same thing. I do the exact same thing. It's funny. Like I'll think, oh, okay, I'm going to build a funnel and, or I'm going to build a page or something like that. And I just jump in and start building. And then I'm like, wait, hold on. I'm starting in the wrong spot. Got to go back, got to pull out the checklist. And I mean, I have years of experience doing this, and I still go back to the checklist because it's just good. It's a good reminder. Yeah. So the first step here is actually just to get organized. This isn't even anything technical. It's just create a project assets folder. And that's just so that you have a place to keep all of your images and videos and copy, everything that you're working on related to this project. Because, and I put that in there because there's so many times that I've gone to, work on a web page or a funnel or something like that, and I can't find a logo or I can't find an image that I need. And so it's best to just put it all in one spot, right where you need it, where it is.
Yeah, the worst thing, and because I loved when you gave me this idea, it was actually, as simple as it was a game changer for me, because what was happening is every time I would leave to go find that logo or find that image, I was down the rabbit hole of like getting distracted by other things, clicking, looking, going through other folders and like just getting sidetracked 100 different things. And then I had to completely get the momentum back into the project, where now if it's all built into one folder, it's just, everything's right there. It sped things up massively.
Yeah. It's just really, it's just to be more efficient. Right. And I'm all about just being efficient. I'm always trying to do things, find processes and things like that just to become more efficient. So
absolutely.
Next step here, after that, you got to understand your avatar. So I give the example here at the beginning of this paragraph. You wouldn't create a website with unicorns and rainbows to sell Harley Davidsons, because you have to understand your customer. You have to understand what they like, what they don't like, their economics, their demographics, everything about them. And when you have that customer avatar, that's going to determine your language, your imagery, your everything, colors even. That's going to be everything about that process. So you go through, identify their age, gender, where they're located, income, all the just general demographics and psychographics that go into that.
How much of that is basically you just deciding who you're going to target, and how much of that is analyzing maybe an existing customer? Like, how do you balance basically your opinion versus external and internal input?
Well, I think that if you don't have a product yet and you haven't asked, it's just going to be guesswork, right? You're just kind of guessing who that's going to be. You have an idea for a product, and maybe before you launch, you want to see what people will think. So you're just kind of guessing at that point.
Facebook does have a really good tool just right in their business manager, in their audience insights, where you can put in like a brand, and it will tell you what things on Facebook, like basically what their demographics are and their different percentage and how they differ from other things, what the like pages they like the most. So there are some really cool, easy, free tools, right? Just available right through Facebook.
That's awesome. I think with this also, if you listen to like what Russell Brunson says about his customer avatars, he talks about in different places. I've seen a couple of different trainings, and he talks about it's the people that he wants to work with.
Smart. Yeah, that's true.
And I think that's pretty cool, because it's like, well, if you have customers that you don't like, fire them, right? Right. Don't work with people that are going to stress you out.
I remember, like when the 4-Hour Workweek, Tim Ferriss talked about building your site so that it attracts low stress customers. And so I remember when I built my very first Muse site, like I didn't have a phone number on it because I didn't want phone calls.
Right.
So I understood that I was going to lose some percentage of people, but I was attracting the kind of customers that would give the least amount of hassle down the road.
Exactly. It's the 80-20 rule, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so you create your customer avatar. That's going to determine everything else as you move forward.
Cool.
The next step is creating your value ladder, and this is critical because a lot of times we skip this and we just go straight to our funnel or our website.
Absolutely.
And your value ladder, in traditional marketing classes, we talked about the customer life cycle, and so for like, we would talk about, for example, like an agency or a corporation like Johnson & Johnson, let's say, they sell, let's just say baby oil. Now they're going to analyze how often does somebody buy baby oil,
right,
and for how long. So they're going to say, okay, this customer is going to buy baby oil once a month for 6 months. And, at $3, that customer is going to be worth $18 to them. But they don't really have an ascension plan. And by ascension plan, I mean ascending that customer into purchasing something greater, purchasing something more. I mean, sure, they may sell them baby powder too, right? But
yeah, I think they're a lot more into like the traditional cross sales. Like, okay, if they're brand loyal, they'll buy other products from us, but there's no real like plan for that. They just kind of hope that they become brand loyal.
yeah, and I mean, they don't really have any like $67 courses on how to use baby oil either.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And there's no mechanism. I mean, occasionally you'll see something like a coupon on one product to get you to go buy the other product.
Right.
But that's about it. Definitely nothing like what we're trained to build here.
Yeah. And so I like to use a whiteboard, and this is a cool app. It's called webwhiteboard.com.
Uh-huh.
And I'll just use this to kind of draw my value ladder. And so I do it as stairs, which is kind of funny because it's a ladder.
Right.
A ladder just
Never
makes
thought about that.
harder to look at. And so I always like to actually start at the top. Like, what's your top, what's like the goal, the highest that someone could ascend within your ranks, right? So let's just say you have a $50,000 coaching program that you do, so we'll just put 50K up here. I'm drawing with a mouse, so it's kind of sloppy.
That's right.
Now, before someone can get to this point, right, before they're going to pay 50K, like you can't just set up a Shopify website with your coaching package for 50K. No one's going to buy that and put in their credit card for $50,000. Plus, that you're going to take a huge hit on those merchant processing fees. You're probably going to want that via wire transfer. So it's not just going to be sold through your website. It's not going to be sold through your funnel. You may have an application or something like that, but you got to nurture your customers. This could be, a 3 to 6 month process, if not longer, to get someone ready to purchase this from you. And so you need something before that. And so you may have, let's just say you have a 5K course, something like that, or a 5K coaching program, something where they can invest a little bit less, but they get more involvement from you. And then let's just say before that, maybe you had a 1K course. And then before that, you had something for $297. And then before that, let's just say you had a $67 product. And then maybe before that, it was just a free ebook. So you can see that you go ascending these people up this value ladder, the value stairs, right?
Right.
Start with a free PDF, and then you're going to start marketing them on the $67 product. Now, this $297 product could be an upsell in the funnel for $67. The 1K could be an upsell to the $297. So you can have different upsells. This could be multiple funnels, or they could all be individual funnels as well.
I think that was one of the things that I've seen. Another one of the things that I see kind of commonly missed is that people think that, okay, I built a value ladder. That is my value ladder for my funnel. It's like, no, that's your value ladder for your business.
Right.
From that, you'll probably have, anywhere from 1 to, 5, 7, maybe even more, but kind of like 3 to 5 is usually the most common.
Yeah.
Funnels that are going to operate in synchronicity to work together to help ascend a client up to the top level.
Exactly. So, so it's good to have this to reference. You're going to look at this. And then after you have your value ladder, then you can actually start mapping out your funnel. And just like I was saying, okay, so this is actually a separate part here that we're not really going to get into right now, but it's actually important really to even have a list of all your products. It makes it really easy to create your value ladder if you list out all your products and their price points,
right?
Or even just ideas for products that you have. It's going to make it really easy to create this value ladder. And then
What I've started, yeah, and what I've started doing to that is sometimes, like the first offer or the second offer sometimes has multiple versions. Like, so
right.
let's say you're a supplement company. A lot of the back end pieces might be the same, but the front end supplement's going to change and rotate over time based on trends or demands and things like that. And so, sometimes I like to, when, in that kind of open space in the top left and bottom right of this kind of stairs, I like to just brainstorm or create a list of alternative products.
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of just like each step here really just kind of indicates the price level or the level of commitment for that customer, right? But you could plug any product in there.
Yeah.
And then, so you have all your products listed out, you have your value ladder, and then create a funnel blueprint. And I actually have a little sketch on here of an example of a funnel blueprint. And that's something you could create in this, this app, web whiteboard, or on an actual whiteboard.
Yep.
So I like to actually just draw it out and say, okay, here's my opt-in page. And then that's going to go to my sales page where I'm going to present the offer. So I'm collecting their email address, then I'm going to taking them to a sales page. And then if they click the button on the sales page, that'll take them to the order page.
Yeah, this is another one of those steps that I thought was kind of silly, but ended up being a huge time saver when I was actually building.
Oh yeah, because I mean, I have clients that we reference back to these multiple times, and because once it's built, then it's kind of like, okay, how are we structuring this?
Yep.
And I mean,
I was doing one just for a survey the other day, just sketching it out on paper, and it massively helped just to sketch out. So I'll use paper, I'll use a whiteboard. Sometimes if I'm wanting to look pretty, I'll use in Google Docs, I'll use their version of what is it, PowerPoint?
Oh yeah, the slides.
Yeah.
So the other thing too that you want to map out on these funnel blueprints is your emails. And this is a piece that a lot of people forget.
Yeah, it's big.
I don't know that you actually you don't have to have your subject lines right here, but you have to say, okay, I'm going to have emails that go out when someone opts in. And I usually just do 3, but I mean, that could be.
Well, it's still a reminder that those emails need to be created.
Exactly. Yeah. And then what I also like to do is add here is if somebody does not purchase, I want to send them an email sequence as well.
Yeah.
And I can do the same for my upsell.
So, and if people that are watching or listening are wondering kind of how this works, there's a lot of programs that do this. The one that Mark and I use obviously is ClickFunnels, and within ClickFunnels is a really cool thing. If you've upgraded your membership to your higher level program, there's a really cool system called Actionetics that you can build all of these things in, and it'll basically say, like what Mark just said, if someone does not purchase, send them this email sequence. If someone does purchase, don't send them that email sequence. And it basically, that's part of the automation.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff that you can do. So going back here. So the next step, this seems kind of counterintuitive, and I've heard people do kind of the opposite to this. And it would work either way, but I prefer doing it this way.
Okay.
Personally, having people write the copy first. So when you build a funnel, you want to write the copy first. And the reason for that is I'm actually going to illustrate this with my handy dandy whiteboard here.
Yeah, I have an analogy for this, for the direction you've done it, because I've tried it both directions. I've tried to build it with Lorem Ipsum, and it's hard. To me, it's kind of like if you're a set builder for a play company.
Yeah.
And you have to build the set without reading the script first.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like, well, here's the thing. Just go ahead and build a set. It's like,
yeah. But if you write your copy, I mean, let's just pretend this is a Word doc and I'm writing copy. That's my headline.
Sure.
I'm going to have a video script. And then maybe I'll have a sub-headline down here.
Right.
I'll have some testimonials. And then I'll have a call to action below that.
Right.
And so now I have my copy. Now, as soon as I'm ready to go to the next step, which is creating my wireframe or selecting a template, I pretty much already have that created right here. So if I just wrap this up like a page,
Right.
and then I can say, okay, this is my video. So I can say this is a video player, right? And then that's my sub headline. Then these are my testimonials here. These could be images of people or little videos, right?
Yep.
And then this call to action here becomes my button. So now I actually kind of have a layout for a page, which is called a wireframe.
Right.
And I can find a template that looks like this, or I can just create a page that looks like this. And I mean, I know it's not fancy to look at, but I know what goes where.
Yeah. And again, it's we're using the term blueprint because, you know, if you've ever looked at a set of architectural plans, like blueprints, there's a bunch of pages. It's not like one page, right?
Right.
And each one of those pages goes into a different level of depth. So you have kind of like your overview or your elevation of the thing. And then as you go through the building, you know, there's a plumbing plan and a wire plan, right, and heating and electrical, and there's all these different things. And so this is kind of what you're doing, like by saying, okay, we have our copy, and then we have our wireframe, and there's the value ladder first, and all these steps is like those different pages in a blueprint. And this one, again, sometimes you think, man, I'll just open up ClickFunnels and I'll use one of their templates. It's like, well, that's great if it happens to be exactly like what you're looking for. Otherwise, be a little bit more deliberate in your marketing,
right,
and intentional. And that's what this allows you to do. And so I think that, again, each one of these things are things that gets often overlooked, skipped, missed by people, but they're for how little time they actually take up front, they save a ton of time on the back end.
Well, and the other thing with this too is once you have this wireframe, sorry to clear my throat.
No, it's okay. Yeah, no worries. So once you have the wireframe,
yeah, I need some water there. You
ClickFunnels,
know exactly what you need. So you know, okay, I've got a video here, so I know I need to make a video. I need to get these images, and you know, if I need a background image, basically it's going to tell you how you build your page. So you get all that stuff ready before you start building.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, like one of the things that was like almost disheartening for me as an entrepreneur, and like when I get excited about something, I just want to be done right then. And so what I found is I wanted to go into ClickFunnels and build it all and be like, in 4 hours, I sat down, I built the entire thing and I'm done. And it's like, well, there's actually like graphics that need to go into it, and you know, building images and you know, kind of like the stuff, again, construction analogy. Sometimes there's stuff, prefab stuff that has to be built off site and come into the construction site. And so, you know, even though
you have to have all your materials, that's what I consider those.
And sometimes you got to have those done in advance, but if you do all of it the way that the blueprint talks about, then when you sit down to build, it can go pretty quick.
Yeah. Once you have everything and then you just sit down and build it, it's pretty much just copy and paste, you know?
Right. You just, you plug and play. WYSIWYG.
And then, you know, using ClickFunnels, then you'd set up your integration, you know, custom domains, things like that, create your products, and then set up your emails. Now, your emails should already be written at this point because you would have written them with all your copy.
Right.
So you have those ready to go. And so that's just plug and play once again. And then you want to test. You want to make sure you test everything. Because if you don't test them out, then they may not work correctly or as you expected. So,
and test more than once. And you're skipping over a lot of really cool stuff, which is totally fine, because again, download this at chasemaverickmedia.com, go through it slowly on your own, and because it's really going to help you. Not you, Mark. You the
yeah. But I mean, that's a cursory overview of what this blueprint is.
Yeah, and so again, this is something that, you know, Mark put together, and is kind of a it's a resource that anybody at any skill level in terms of funnel building, whether it's your very first one, it's going to help massively. If it's your 1,000th funnel, and you don't already have kind of a step-by-step checklist system, then it's going to be amazing. And I think you'll enjoy it way more than you thought you would. Because it's helped me a lot. And, you know, I don't know if I definitely haven't built quite as many funnels as Mark, but I'm getting up there, you know, in terms of the number of them that I've put out. And there's still tons to learn and efficiencies to find. So Mark and I have walked through the ultimate sales automation blueprint. And again, no matter how long you've been building funnels or if it's your first one, I highly recommend you go to chasemaverickmedia.com and download it for free. One thing I want to tell you about that name, which is kind of cool, is Chase Maverick Media is named after one of my sons and Mark's son, Chase and Maverick. And so that's how we came up with that name. And we got a cool logo that you'll have to go check out at the site. But again, it's free. Yes, you got to give us your email. That's the exchange. That's how this works. That's our lead magnet. Part of what we do is we try to practice what we preach. So let us know kind of what you see there and how you like our processes. But it's going to be a great resource for you. So please go get that for free. It's all yours. Mark, signing off words, final words of advice for people that are trying to get started in growing their business and automating their sales.
I think honestly, it's just getting the work done. You know, you just got to take that leap of faith and just do it. That's the biggest thing that I see.
Yeah. Like step one, start, right? Step one is literally take the first step. And I think it's kind of like when I get overwhelmed a little bit, like I make my checklist, and number one on my checklist is make a checklist, and I check it off. And as silly as it is, that momentum builds, it works for me. And so sometimes this automation blueprint it allows you to have kind of that checklist. And because what's happening is you're making progress that isn't the progress you want. The progress you want is that funnel to be built and looks pretty and is ready to be marketed. But there's stuff that has to happen before that. So it helps to have a blueprint that you're checking things off and kind of going through a process. So you feel the progress through the pre-process.
Right.
So anyways, it's yours for free. Check it out at chasemaverickmedia.com. Thanks for listening here on ABC News Radio and Biz Ninja. You can also check out more episodes at bizninja.com/radio. All right, Mark, thanks for coming on. Talk soon.
All right. See ya.